Time's running out, he snapped. If she didn't call, he would have to follow through even if he didn't want to. Havoc was annoyed with him because of the official order and the threat it contained, and was currently not speaking with him over it. His wolf had seemed to have changed lately. His irritation at her lack of response was driving anger into him by the minute. Havoc, though not speaking to him, was prowling around inside his mind. Nathan didn't believe she was going to call. She had a new life away from the pack, away from them, away from him. If he was totally honest with himself, he had half expected her to sever ties with the pack from her end and run, making him physically hunt her down. Which he would have. Havoc did love a good hunt, and she was something he had enjoyed chasing once upon a time. Yet she hadn't done so. Didn't mean that she wouldn't in the next 10 minutes. The door to his office opened, and in strolled his father Blaine. He looked at Nathan pacing around, at Jackson watching him. He felt the atmosphere in the room and sighed. "What's going on, son?" "Jayla, I gave her 3 days to contact and 7 days to come in," he snapped, not really wanting to explain himself. He had no longer had to. He had been the alpha for the past 2 years now. It was more of a courtesy comment out of respect for him being his father and former alpha. "You didn't send the black envelope, did you, son?" Blaine sounded annoyed with him. "Yes," was all he said. He watched as his father's blue eyes turned to focus on Jackson, his beta, for confirmation, as though he thought his son was lying to him. When Jackson nodded his head, anger rolled off the former alpha. "Why on this goddess-gifted earth we're standing on would you do that?" Both his hands were in his hair, pulling at it in what appeared to be utter frustration. Now he felt like he had to explain. "She wouldn't come home when I requested politely. Rejected all requests. Bloody 3 of them she ignored. How dare she?" He yelled the last part. He couldn't help himself. He was the alpha of the Blood Moon Pack, and she was still a member of this pack, his pack, and therefore his to command and order as he saw fit. And she dared to ignore him. Actually, she actively defied him when he had reached out an olive branch and told her to come home. His fists balled, and he slammed one down on the corner of his desk to let out his frustration at her damned defiance. She would never have even thought of so much as saying no to him once upon a time. It had always been yes to anything he asked her to do, along with a sweet smile and a playful wink. But now it seemed she had changed over the years. He was ready to explode his rage into the room. It wouldn't take much. Glancing at his watch, 2 minutes. Jackson's phone rang while Nathan was glaring at his office phone. "Ring, damn it," he willed it. The sound of Jackson's phone was what pushed him over the edge. How dare anyone interrupt him during this time? He heard Jackson answer his phone in that lazy, laid-back tone that he hated so much. "Hello, Beta Jackson speaking." His anger ripped out of him and he yelled, "Send the worst of the worst and drag her ass home." Both his fists hit his desk. He heard it crack. Didn't care. Jackson stopped talking and stared right at him. He could feel his father's eyes on him as well. Jackson's eyes returned to his phone and he shook his head and sighed heavily. "Well, Alpha, that went well." Then his hard gray eyes were staring at him, practically staring him down. If he was spoiling for a fight, he could have one. The look was damn near a challenge. His next words shocked him. "That was Jayla. She heard what you said and has hung up. All I got was a gasp filled with fear." Now it was Nathan's turn to run his hand through his hair and pull at it in frustration. And it dawned on him he was just like his father in so many ways. He closed his eyes. "Call her back right now," he demanded, trying not to kick the nearest thing to him. Havoc was fuming inside him. "Look what you did now." "I know," Nathan muttered back to his wolf. "I'll fix it." "You'd better," came an angry snarl. Nathan stood watching as Jackson hit the number to call her back, only to realize on the phone it actually stated Jayla. That bastard had her number all this time. Oh, he was going to get punched in the face after this was over. They could have called her and he wouldn't have had exploded and said what he had said. Why did she have to wait so long, to the very last minute of the deadline? He was not exactly known for his patience nowadays. His father was still in the room also waiting for the outcome, he noted, though he seemed more curious about his son's reaction to the situation than he should be. He was standing by the door looking right at Nathan with a raised eyebrow, an open curiosity on his face. He glared at his father and snapped. What?